We feel guilty. We feel ashamed. We feel that we're being selfish. Just cannot continue to live in that pressure cooker. It's very hard for us to start setting boundaries and pulling back because we feel so guilty. Our performance, in fact, girl, our worth is tied to our performance. Put so much pressure on ourselves.
This episode is for all the mothers out there, the carers, the overgivers, the women who always put others first before themselves, and especially for the ones who feel the guilt, who feel burnt out and emotionally exhausted. I'm so excited and absolutely delighted to have a very special guest all the way from sunny Texas. Quite an inspirational lady, actually. A doctor in the field of counselling, trauma, compassion fatigue, nervous system regulation, and midlife burnout in women. Find yourself a warm and cozy, safe space where you won't be disturbed if you can. Grab yourself a warm drink, open your heart, your mind, and your ears, and enjoy. I'd like to give a big warm welcome to you, Julie Meriman, for coming onto the show. Somebody who is extra admirable nowadays because you work alongside very competent, capable women who have held it together for so long, who have supported systems, teams, families, and now they've come to a point where something has started to change.
Right. Midlife is an interesting time for women, and especially those of us who overeducated ourselves or really built a career and we're trying to hold together all these things, our family, our marriage, our kids. And then we get into the sandwich generation, right, where our parents are also needing things from us. And midlife is just an interesting time. Research shows the allostatic load, which is the summary, just this accumulation of stress that we've been under for a number of years, really heads out at midlife. We've been living on a cocktail of adrenaline and cortisol, if you will, for a long time. And estrogen served as a lovely buffer for us for years, where we had lots of tolerance for things. And and it does us a favor. It helps us get through child rearing and all these things. But in midlife, estrogen, we don't lose it completely, but it cuts back, and we really come to a reckoning of just how much tolerance we have for being so rough on ourselves. Our nervous system has been living in the state of survival mode, sympathetic and dorsal, for so long that I like to think of it. I mean, we've been living past our capacity for so many years. Midlife is an opportunity to really excavate, find our true identity, and have this homecoming, this yummy homecoming, where we can really try and design a life that feels far better to live in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I can imagine that it's not easy to get to that stage of acceptance and realizing, and I suppose letting go.
Oh, absolutely, it's not. On top of everything, so many females have been socialized to appease, and it starts from. I mean, I'm 63. I can remember in the early 60s. I learned very early that if I appeased, I would not get separated from the tribe. Now, my parents weren't going to get rid of me. That's not what I mean. But I wouldn't get a spanking. If I appeased, it was a good little girl. Then I got rewarded, and it was all, wonderful. And girl, we learned that early. I mean, we learned that early. So it's very hard for us. Not everyone. People, I mean, we're all individuals, but just overall, it's very hard for us to start setting boundaries and pulling back because we feel so guilty. Our performance, in fact, girl, our worth is tied to our performance for so many years. Starts with our parents. Then we overachieve. Our professors, I'm a professor, I'm guilty of this. Although I've told my students, just go get a B. You're going to be fine. Just go get a B. But we earn grades. We get praised for our grades. We get into a job. The boss praises us for working a 12-hour day, and then our kids praise us for going overboard on birthdays and Christmas. I mean, we just put so much pressure on ourselves. And when we start to think about pulling back, I see this across the board. I've worked with women for 30 years in my clinical office. We feel guilty. We feel ashamed. We feel that we're being selfish if we put ourselves into the equation at all. And that is, we just cannot continue to live in that pressure cooker. Back to the allostatic load, back to that nervous system being in complete survival mode. And my ladies I work with that are really past the point of capacity, not only are in sympathetic, which is that fight or flight, they also drop into dorsal vagal, which is fawning, freezing, being so numb that they've dissociated from themselves. So we really have to do some work on shame and resentment, because that's what happens after we feel guilty for being resentful. Oh, I can't have that. That feeling is wrong. I can't do that. I'm a bad person if I have resentment. And that is so far from the truth. It's a normal response to not getting our needs met. It's a normal response to swallowing your truth to keep the peace. It's a normal response for scanning the environment, knowing other people's needs before they know them. But if someone asks you what you need, we don't have a clue. It's like, well, I don't know. I haven't been inside my body in a lot of years. So we have to spend a lot of time. I do chakra psychology as well as somatic. It's not woo-woo. Our chakras, and it's just two different languages, but if you talk to a neuroscientist, he's going to tell you all about the vagus nerve and how that runs through our nervous center and blah, blah, blah. A yoga instructor, someone versed in chakra, is going to tell you the same thing, but in chakra terminology. So I find for the ladies I work with, vagus nerve can be such an abstract. We talk about chakras, and I can actually pinpoint those in their body. And moving is very important, the somatic part. But where I'm going with this, I try to get them in touch, first and foremost, with resentment. Because I believe resentment is a very sacred emotion. If we really get in touch with it, and I'm touching my heart chakra right now because I have ladies start there a lot of times. If we really get in touch with it, we can get so much information about what our body needs, about what we need. And we have to do that without shame and apologizing for how dare we put ourselves in even into the equation. I mean, I've done a lot of retreats and a lot of workshops and just big presentations with women in the helping fields, just women. And when we talk about putting themselves into that equation, they feel so guilty. I mean, they're like, oh, that's selfish. I can't possibly do that. But what happens, we become the empty cup. I mean, it's a myth we can't pour from an empty cup. We do it all the time. But we become the empty cup, and that's a really miserable place to be. So it's very important to get her opened up to, I can do this for myself without feeling guilty.
Yeah. And I really like the way you said that it's normal. I think adopting a feeling of normalizing how we're feeling and feeling guilty and resentment, and kind of adopting the sense of it being normal, is probably like the first step. But how do we even get to that first step of normalizing these feelings?
Yeah. Well, I teach all my clients, even my students, a body scan. I mean, that's the very first place to start, because what we've become are these beautiful floating heads of competence. We're going to think our way through everything, right? No, I think my way out of this, because that's what we've been taught. In fact, my daddy used to tell me upper level thinking skills, Julie. And so I'm young. Well, let me think about this. and that's great. We're not gonna have any kind of thought about that except being open to it and curious. So before we go to the body scan, first, it's a shift from judging everything we do, because we're very judgmental. We're very mean to ourselves. We will say things in our head that we would never say to another living soul. And that every time we talk to ourselves that way, it impacts our nervous system. Cortisol, adrenaline, some kind of something is released to that. So it's very important to move to self-compassion. And Dr. Kristen Neff out of actually the University of Texas, I'm in Texas, so it's I know about people that are in Texas, but she's done a lot of great research on self-compassion and how important that is as we move towards accepting ourselves and holding space for ourselves. And really, there's even some forgiveness to be done, because sometimes when we start looking at that, we can feel very irritated with ourselves for having allowed ourselves to be treated that way or treating ourselves that way. So very first and foremost, approach things with curiosity and self-compassion, because that brings a really different energy than judgment and I should. Oh, anytime you see an I should come up, there's a rule around that you need to look at that's not serving you usually. But once you can bring in some curiosity, then really trying to get embodied. Teaching yourself full body scans where you're just curious. If you're comfortable, shut your eyes. You can do it eyes open, but you scan the top of your head, your eyes, your throat, your chest, upper tummy, lower tummy, sits bones, all the way down to your tippy toes. And you just bring curiosity. What physical sensation might I be feeling? And I tell you, when I'm first working with ladies to do this, they are so uncomfortable. They get irritated with me. They're like, "What do you want me to do, Julie? I don't even know." And we just bring love and compassion, because they haven't been in their body so long. They're not even connected to what their interoception is telling them. They sit through lunch without eating because they forget they're hungry, or they deny they're hungry because they're too busy. They don't go pee because they're too busy. And then we just have ignored our body signals for so long that we forget how to even read them. So that body scan, without any expectations, we're just looking for a physical sensation. There's no right, there's no wrong. But that's a place to start. And then I try to help them learn. I feel anxious. Okay, that's great. Let's just hold space for feeling anxious. Where do you feel anxious? Where in your body? Because that gives us a lot of clues. And of course, a lot of times they're like, I have 3 eyes, and they're like, stop it. I don't know where I feel it. But slowly but surely, they start building a new neural pathway, which takes about 60 days to even hold space to let me go inside my body and see what I'm feeling. So, but it's such an important first step, because how can we deal with any kind of emotion if we don't know where we're feeling it and how it's impacting us?
Totally. I really like the way you outlined how long it takes to create a new neural pathway, because a lot of people get fed up. They try, they know the theory, they know what to do, and they try it out and they get fed up because they don't have the patience. And it's very normal for that to happen. But I think the key is persistence and 60 days.
Absolutely, Sarah. Persistence. It's never one and done. And don't we want that? We're such a, especially, I miss the days when our phone was attached to the wall. I'm not going to lie,
You're not the only one.
No, we at least got a little time off, but we're tethered to these dadgum phones, and we get immediate, like, oh, I want to know this. So we hit AI, or we hit, Google something. We have an immediate kind of idea, that immediate gratification. And it's very hard for us to sit back and think, oh, that's really not how our body was designed. That's not. It does take time, and it's okay. A lot of the sweet souls I work with will come into a session very frustrated because they think they're doing something wrong.
Mm.
And also normalize you're not, sweetness. It just takes some time. And in fact, and as a counselor, I'm licensed in the state of Texas as a licensed professional counselor. And in that, the state tells me there's very certain things I have to do as I intake a client. And one of the things to remind them, and this is true if you're with a counselor or coach or just doing your own work, it can get far messier before it gets better. And that's normal. Expect that, because that messy part is where a lot of people will quit or think they're doing something wrong. And anytime we work on ourselves, I promise it's going to be messy. It is going to be, think of that little girl making mud pies. It's going to be messy. And just to celebrate that, the messier it gets, I'm like, woohoo, you are doing it, girl.
It's true. It really does get hard before it gets better. And I like that analogy of baking. You need to make a big mess before a lovely tart comes out.
Right. And you might have to make 3 tarts before it comes out, just like you had hoped for that tart to come out. Or for me, it's a chocolate cake. I can't tell you how many I've gone, no one's going to eat that. Try again. But it's okay.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of inner child work with my gals as well, because we have a lot of old messaging that doesn't serve us anymore. Messaging that we put into our noggin when we maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe it's pre-verbal, but and this is an Adlerian theory, which I love Adler, but and I believe it to be true. There's a reason for every behavior, and a child who doesn't understand what's going on, and if a parent isn't really eloquent in explaining to the child, or maybe the child is just not old enough to really take it in. I'm not blaming parents. It's but they will make up the story, and then they will live by that story. And it's time, as we're doing the work on ourselves, especially in midlife, to really sit back and think, is this true? This narrative I'm running my life by, is it true? Am I still not lovable? Because kids will, we encode so many messages as we're growing up that just don't serve us. So the inner child work really allows us to go back and explore some of those messages from an empowered adult and see how we can rewrite some of that narrative. Mark White, that's the narrative therapy. I love using that with my clients because we can rewrite that narrative to one that's really more accurate and feels better instead of feeling like a victim, feeling empowered.
That even feels good just saying it, rewriting the narrative to help us feel better. Because if you think about it, if we step back and question everything that we're thinking, a lot of it is probably narratives that aren't true.
Completely false narratives. And we have convinced ourselves, well, I thought it, so it's true. That is just our brain. Well, it can be a big fat liar. We've trained, and our system is just doing what it's designed to do. We're not picking on it. The nervous system, its job is to keep us alive. So it looks at our narrative, and the amygdala is like our little danger scanner is like, okay, we can make that narrative happen. So it's scanning for things, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy at times. So it really is important to go in and do that work, because the long term, it helps our nervous system come out of that dorsal and sympathetic and get into ventral, which is our social, regulated space where pleasure can come back online. Desire, the yumminess of life can be felt when we're in that state. So it really is worth the work.
Yes. And the way you said we can allow pleasure to come back online, I can't imagine how many of us have lost our sense of enjoying life because we've just been caught up in pleasing and serving and taking care. I can't even imagine.
Right. And then we beat ourselves up for it. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I'm broken. What? And I want anyone listening, please hear this. You are not broken. Your nervous system is doing what it was designed to do. and it's been doing it for so long, it's forgotten how to take you out of that. Think about when we're really upset about something, think how you brace. I mean, shoulders will go up, the tummy goes tight, and that pelvic floor is bracing too. So the blood flow to our genitals isn't flowing like, it would be if we're in that ventral state where everything's just flowing and feels good. And our body is very wise. And mind you, it was designed in a time where danger was real. A saber-toothed tiger might come eat you. A tribe might come and it beat everyone up. I mean, whatever. It was designed to protect us. So if we've been in that fight or flight or the free state for so long, we have told our nervous system, pleasure goes offline. Our frontal cortex, our brain is very selfish with energy, and that frontal cortex, it's not fully available, and it has told. So we're not completing stress cycles. So the body says, well, this chickie poo is in survival mode, and she does not need pleasure or desire because the last thing she needs is to get pregnant when we're just trying to survive. So, and pleasure, we don't need that. And it might even go, we're not even going to let her digest well. We're surviving right now. So the body's just doing what it's designed to do, but we can train our body to go back into that nice ventral state and to feel safe again, and to take it back to chakra psychology, which goes with the vagus nerve, that root chakra and sacral chakra. That's where our that's where our genitals are. That's where all of our lady parts live and survive. And if that part of our body doesn't feel safe, pleasure is off the table. We've got to feel safe in our body, safe to open up, safe to be vulnerable, safe to miss an appointment and the world isn't going to end, safe to be touched. And it doesn't mean, oh my God, I've got one more thing I have to do.
Yeah.
But that's, pleasure is still there. In fact, at 63, I'm going to tell you, she's there and she is even bigger and better than before. But
I'm glad to hear that.
yes, it's very accessible, but we have to get that body feeling safe and think about how we're tending to our relationships. Because if we're in survival state, we brush things off. I don't have time for that. Yeah. Here's this. Oh, I don't have time. And your spouse or your partner tries to touch you and you tense up. Like, not that we don't love them. It's just we think, oh my God, that's one more obligation.
Yeah.
Or we've had so much obligatory sex or faked so many orgasms that our body doesn't believe us anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even believe you. Come on, man. Let's get things regulated so we can get to that ventral state.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And I'd love to hear, Julie, how you came to this part of your work.
Well, it's been a journey. My daddy always told me I did everything the hard way. It's probably true.
You did it your way.
I did it my way. That's right. And Daddy didn't mean it mean. He's one of my heroes. That I started. Of course, I'm a professor, and I've been in academia for a number of years. I've also been a clinician for 30-something years. And I started researching burnout and compassion fatigue. And my first book, In Pursuit of Soul Joy, is all about that, because I saw it happening in my students and my supervisees and myself. I came off stage when I was about 45, big auditorium, standing ovation, to look at it. Sarah, you would have thought it was successful. You would have thought, wow, she got it going on. I was numb. I didn't feel it. I was scared, actually. There was a fear that came up. Why don't I feel this? And that really, that got me researching the compassion fatigue and burnout. And then I realized the other side of that coin is that numbness and loss of desire. It's one coin, I believe, with two sides. So as I got that side of the coin kind of squared away, and I had women coming back online, but going, I don't even know about sex anymore. That feels too big. I I don't know.
Mhm.
I really started researching that side of it, how our dysregulated nervous system really robs us of pleasure and desire. And that's my new book that just came out, Are We Going to Have Sex or What? Which is what I said to my husband on our first date. He's younger than I am. So I had to, anyways, a long story behind that. But I really saw the women I was working with, myself included, we're always our best avatar, right? That what we live through, finding that we'd reached a certain age and society says you're no longer attractive, you're no longer gonna be attractive, sexy to anyone, and good, go put on your crone clothes and be done with you. That's just not true. At 63, I am vital. I have lots of vitality. I have a lot of life left. So I wanted to help women see that. I mean, sex is in the book for sure, but it's also about reigniting desire for life, living fully alive in your body. Because I saw too many women just living in their head and living fully alive. And don't we deserve that? Yes. Don't we deserve that? So it's a passion project dedicated to the thousands upon thousands of women that I've worked with over the years, to have a manual of sorts, if you will.
Yeah. Amazing. It sounds like a very interesting book, and I'm sure a lot of people would probably use it as their Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of designed it like that, where chapters, you can read one, or like a cookbook. You can this is going on. What can I look at? I've done a lot of marriage counseling too. And I noticed over the years, my couples couldn't even talk about sex. They had never had conversations about sex other than, yes, I'll do it. So, that's talked about in the book too, that connectivity is such an important part of pleasure and desire. And women, we don't wake up just wanting to have sex per se. Only about 15%, even in your 20s, 85% or more of women, we have responsive desire. So I think it's very important that we hold space for ourselves and lots of self-compassion. It's still there. It's just waiting to be excavated.
I definitely resonate there. It's like when you don't, I suppose, pay attention to a certain part of anything, it goes dormant.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's gone dormant to save that energy because we needed it for all these other things. Yeah. I mean, that's what we told our nervous system.
Yeah, totally. And so in relation to, you mentioned that there's a new book about to be launched. When is it going to be launched?
Oh, it is launched. It's my Are We Going to Have Sex or What book.
Amazing.
Yep. It came out a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And
you also wrote another book, Sexy After 50.
Oh, that's my podcast.
Oh, Sexy After 50.
Yes. It improves sex and intimacy by healing your nervous system. It goes with the book, but comes out twice a week. And of course, I'm a professor, so I always do Bloom's taxonomy. We do a teach, and then there's an activity. So they have homework. They can go over, I try to give, on Friday, I give an activity they can do with their spouse. And sometimes I tell them, sex is off the table. We're gonna try and find pleasure and desire and take that pressure off the nervous system. But yeah, that's my podcast.
Yes. And In Pursuit of Soul Joy, I think, was your previous book. Was that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's a 12-week guide, step by step, to overcome burnout and compassion fatigue. And again, it's all about nervous system regulation, and it's a deep dive. I shared a copy with my husband's oncologist, and he said he read it and he went, "Julie, that's a textbook. You just can't sit down and read that." There's a lot of work. But I believe you can't just look at something. I'm that way as a therapist too. You've got to get it embodied and do, or we're not going to change. If you want to change, if you want something to be different, you have to change what we're doing. So yeah, but it's In Pursuit of Soul Joy. And I have a podcast that goes with that called Compassion Fatigue Cure.
Mhm. If somebody wanted to work with you alongside, how would they go about it?
Sure. I have a website, www.juliemerimanphd.com, and I have a 7-day Radiance Somatic Intensive. And the whole idea through these 7 days, I meet with, they get an email with some work to do, and then we meet once a day for those 7 days. And the ladies I'm working with, y'all are busy. The last thing you want is something else to do. This is short and quick and high impact. Trying to get them somatically mapped out with some tips and tools and results. And also it's with other women. I've found, and research backs this up, we really need each other and to be seen and supported with each other. And so it's an intimate group. I don't take big, it's 10 to 12 women so that we can have time and space to really be seen and heard.
Yeah. And how do you encourage women to take the time out of their busy schedule?
That's the hardest thing ever. We feel so guilty. We feel so overwhelmed. And I have to remind them with love, because I've been there. If it's a priority, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Somehow those kids get picked up each evening. If it's a priority, it's going to happen. And you deserve to be on that priority list.
Yeah.
It's that cliche. I know we've been on airplanes, the stewardess, whatever they call them now. I think that's old terminology, but we're told to put the oxygen mask on ourselves before we help others, or we're going to fall out in the aisle and be a burden. So we need to take care of ourselves so we are better. We're showing up more alive when we want to take care of others, when we want to be connected.
And I suppose it boils down to looking at the guilt and wondering, is this a true narrative like you had said before? Where is this guilt? How do I manage the guilt? I imagine women thinking.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't spend that money on myself. Well, you could, and you're going to feel better when you do. But how many times, and maybe it's just the women I've worked with, but and they have good incomes, but they'll buy something. Maybe it was a little splurge. They feel guilty and return it. Like, well, you are worth it. You are worth it. And on the other side of building those new neural pathways is a life you can't imagine.
And not only is it for our lives, but it's also for our children's lives, the future generations, and healing the past as well.
Oh, amen. Absolutely. Yeah, your role modeling thing. We role model mine are in their 40s now, and I get to hear about all the things I role modeled. And I see it coming up. They're lovely. And we did, but we role model unintentionally. Bander's learning theory. It's by seeing, not by talking about it. So if they see you taking care of yourself, what a gift. And then if they need something from you, there's not so much irritation if you're taking care of yourself. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, one more thing. It feels like, yay, I have some space for this. And generational healing is real because that shows up in our DNA even. That's important.
Yes, it's a biological thing, like in epigenetics. I can imagine that. Yes, it's all tied in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for busy women who don't have time in their whole daily schedule? What could they do, like little short 5-minute strategies or anything at all that might help them?
Oh, absolutely. That's most of the women I work with. And I also have a challenge for them. What's one thing you can give up? Because we tend to over function. There's a lot of control underneath that we don't recognize, which is a whole thing. But just a simple 4 in breath, a 6 exhale, making a noise. That vagal tone is there. Squeeze your shoulders, drop those shoulders as you're doing that. Notice where it lands in your body. Do that body scan. Notice if there's any aches or any aches. Breathe into that ache. Just a simple, and it sounds simple. I don't know if you can see it, but just a simple little...
a little wiggle?
a little wiggle. Oh, wiggling's great, but this is just a hip circle
Oh, yeah.
because so much of we hold so much. The issues are in our tissues. We can't get around that, and we hold a lot of trauma in, especially our hip and root chakra area. So just starting with little hip circles, or even the infinity sign, an 8 circle, which is kind of takes some thinking, is a great just a release. But also, of course, I live on a cattle ranch. I got animals all around me, and my horses are especially good about this. They shake. If you notice, especially like after you've ridden Rex, my horse, he's like, "Oh my God, you're off me now," and he shakes. We're designed to shake. So if we're feeling especially anxious, shake. Just see, let some of that out. We hold it all in, embrace it. Let some of that out. And also, last one, I've got a plethora, but walking outside for 5 minutes without the phone, leave the daggum phone in the office. Let your body have some sunshine. That vitamin D regulates our emotions. Listen to the leaves blow, the birds chirp. Or if you're I was just in New York City, which is far different from where I'm at, but listen to the cars. Look at the tulips that have been planted. Our nervous system needs those triggers. It is begging that stress cycle to stop, and we've got to give it permission. And little things like that will do that.
I like the idea of people watching, just to kind of calm our nervous system down, admire the people walking past.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
And I really love the way you said the issues in the tissue, because I've been reading up a lot about our fascia system recently. So interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I have an especially tight right hip. And of course, my first child was over 10 pounds. It was a horrible birth. I mean, we made it, but it started when he was born. Now, it's not his fault; it's my body. But, and I think that's fascinating. Your body responds to energies. It responds to big T, little T traumas that held in our body, and the things we encode by that narrative system. But yeah, it's fascinating. Fascinating. And it's back to, we can't think our way through it. We've got to actually get up and move and do some things to release.
Yes, definitely. And that idea of shaking our body or moving our body in a way that shifts that energy block is really powerful. I've definitely tried it out before in the past.
Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And are there any practices that you do, Julie, on a daily basis?
Well, yes. I love to exercise. I'm very big into movement. So every morning I lift weights and ride my Peloton bike, and it is the best. Hubby and I try to go on a walk, and of course we're out in the middle of nowhere, so it's great. So we try to go on a walk, or a walk through the pasture, at least in the evenings, to unwind and just appreciate nature. And he likes to check on the cattle, so that helps. That gives him that space. Breathing is very important. I have a great therapist that I see. I'm trained as a yoga instructor. In fact, I have yoga goats out here. So I try to do yoga, a good yoga session at least once a week. And then all the breathing and the shaking. And I have a practice when I'm seeing clients. I feel like there's a glass wall. Now, not that I don't want to be with them, but those emotions come back at you, and your brain does not know those aren't your emotions. And it will set into responding. So I try to envision that glass wall so that I'm not taking it all on. And I have a visualization where I clean it after each session, and it's almost like smudging a room.
Totally. We're so powerful when we work with our energy and our imagination and visualization.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it works. It really does work.
I love that. Thank you so much, Julie, for taking the time to come on the podcast. It's been such an insightful conversation.
Oh, Sarah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. Yes. And I hope that anybody listening will reach out and read your books. They look very interesting. And I'm sure they'll be a massive help to a lot of people who are listening too.
Thank you. I hope so. That's what they were written for.
Yeah. I'll leave all of the links in the show notes as well, so they'll be easy for people to reach.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you so much, Julie. Have a lovely week and take care.
Okay. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.